on the next section of Algebra 2 today. Today we're going to start with factoring. So we're going to step away from the square roots and I and negative numbers underneath the square root for now. We are going to go into factoring a quadratic, and I'll kind of bring all of the pieces back together in the next couple of weeks. But for now, we're going to kind of step to a different topic in Algebra 2, which is factoring. You saw factoring in Algebra 1, but I'm going to just reteach it to you, but it should feel a little bit familiar. So here we go. I can factor a quadratic expression. And this will be notes number 1 for us. So I had to do a warm-up on the diamond puzzles. Hopefully that was going okay. What we are going to utilize is that it's called the X method or the diamond method, but we're going to set up our factors in this way. And the part that goes on top is what multiplies to the top number and combines to or adds to get the bottom number. So, for instance, if I had, we want two numbers that multiply to 16 and add to 10, you are going to come up with the two numbers that go on the sides here. So 2 times 8, 2 times 8 is 16, and 2 plus 8 is 10. So that's the way we're going to utilize this kind of visual representation. And here are what the problems look like. So first we're going to start with, everything being positive, and then we'll start to bring in some negative numbers and kind of complicate things just a little bit. So number 1, we have x squared plus 13x plus 36. So this is a problem. We are going to factor it. So we're going to look for factors of, or what multiplies to, to 36. So I'm going to set up my diamond, and I'm going to put 36 here. What multiplies to make 36 and adds to or combines to $13. So I want that one perfect pair of numbers that is going to multiply together to make 36 and add together to make 13. So luckily, I know that 4 times 9 is 36. So just off to the side, you don't necessarily have to write this down, but I'm just going to show you. 4 times 9 is 36, and 4 plus 9 is 13. So that's how I'm going to look for that pair of numbers. It multiplies to this number, or the constant, and it adds together, combines together to make that middle term. So what we can do, we're going to set up parentheses. Set up parentheses. I want 2 sets. I have two x's. It's x squared. One of the x's is going to go here, and one of the x's is going to go here. Next to that x, that's where I'm going to put my numbers that I came up with. So I'm going to use plus 4 and plus 9. And that is the factored form of x squared plus 13x plus 36. We call this factored form. And that is our answer. Now, if you wanted to, you could check your work if you wanted. By multiplying it back out. So we said that x plus 4, x plus 9 is a different way to represent x squared plus 13x plus 36. So let's just double check that what we said is representative is actually true. So I'm going to multiply it back out. X times x is x squared. X times 9 is 9x. 4 times x is 4x. And 4 times 9 is 36. So when I combine those like terms in the middle, we get x squared plus 13x plus 36, which was our beginning problem. We took this, we factored it into x plus 4, x plus 9, and just to check to make sure we did it correctly, we multiplied it back out, and yep, looks like we did a great job. You don't always have to check, but I'm just wanting you to know that you can. It is a possibility. So let's keep going. I'm going to do a couple more problems with you. Number 2, x squared plus 15x plus 50. So in that x method, this part goes on top. So what multiplies together to make 50, and this part goes on the bottom. I want to be able to add those numbers together, combine those numbers together to make 15. So two numbers that multiply together to make 50 and add together to make 15 would be 10 and 5. That would be the perfect pair of numbers. 10 and 5. So over here, again, I have two x's. So I want to split them up, one in each set of parentheses. And then I'm going to put a positive 10 and a positive 5 next to those x's. This is factored form. You are done after that step. You could check your work by multiplying it back out. You don't have to. It's not required, but you could if you wanted to. All right, let's do another one. All right, so I want two numbers that multiply to 40 And when I add those numbers together, they're going to give me a negative 22. That negative 22, that tells me a lot about the numbers that I'm going to have to use to multiply. How did that even happen? To multiply together. So to make a negative 22 when I combine those numbers together, that tells me that each of these numbers will be negative, because a negative times a negative is the only way I'm going to get positive 40. So when I think about 40, 8 and 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 8 and 5 are not going to cut it for this example. So there must be another pair of numbers. Maybe 20 and 2. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. 20, negative 20 times negative 2 makes positive 40. And negative 20 plus negative 2, or just minus 2 more, makes that negative 22 we're looking for. So be careful about your signs. Be careful with your signs. So in this problem, I'm going to have the x's split up, and then I'm going to put a negative 20 in one of them and a negative 2 in the other. It does not matter which one you put first. My negative 20 happens to be the first one, but you could also have the negative 2 first. Either answer is completely acceptable. So there's not like a perfect way to put those numbers or a particular way to put those numbers. So what I'll say about your signs is this. When this is a positive number, these signs here will either both be positive or they'll both be negative. Both positive or negative, and it depends on what you see down here. If this number is positive, that means they're both positive. If this number is negative, that means they're both negative. If this is a negative number here, that means you're going to have opposite signs, because a positive times a negative is the only way that you would get a negative number here. And the sign here tells you if the bigger number is positive or negative. Oops. All right, so If this is a negative, these are both going to be opposite signs, but we don't know which one is going to be positive or negative until we look down here and see what kind of sign we're dealing with in that section. So let's do a couple more problems, and hopefully these rules will make a little bit more sense. All right, so here we go. Let's see. That was example 2, 3. We'll call it example 4. So I've got x squared plus x minus 20. My hair looks extra. Okay, so we have negative 20. Make sure you bring the sign with the number that goes on top. And this is 1x. So I don't see a 1 there, but there is a 1 there, and you're going to need to put that in your setup. So I want two numbers that multiply to negative 20 and combine or add together to make 1. So because it is a negative 20, I know that the numbers are going to have opposite signs. So two numbers that multiply to 20 and would combine together to make 1, well, 5 and 4 are going to be the best pair of numbers. So how do I get a 1 out of 5 and 4? Well, 5 take away 4 is 1. So that's how I know which one is going to get my sign. So 5 take away 4 is how I get 1. Also, this number is positive, so my bigger number is positive. So when I factor this, it'll be factored into x and x. One of them gets the plus 5, and one of them gets the minus 4. All right, let's do that a couple more times. All right, so again, because of the negative, we're going to have opposite signs. And then for the 2, I want to use, let's say, 6 times 4. 6 times 4 is 24, and 6 take away 4 is how I get 2. So I'll set this up. X plus 6. And x minus 4. All right, so we're going to have you try a couple. We'll come back together and work on that in just a second.